as the Minnesota Vikings look to replace Stefon Diggs, a name that's been bandied about a little bit. The scuttlebutt, the rumors are out there, is free agent wide receiver Breshad Perriman, who is a physical freak. Formerly of the Buccaneers, formerly of Washington, formerly of the Cleveland Browns, formerly of the Ravens. He's bounced around a little bit. So let's get into the 26-year-old today. He's 6'2", 215. Kirk, he needs a tall receiver. Yeah. Son of Breshad Perriman. Remember, from the U. Just the U being the U, baby. Also, stupid Lions. Like, if you're a Vikings fan from, like, the late 80s, early 90s, you remember Breshad Perriman. Like, he did some... Breshad Perriman, Herman Moore... Barry Sanders, like, they had some legit teams. Fortunately, their quarterback was Scott Mitchell. But whatever. Breshad was a former 2-star recruit out of Lithonia, Georgia. Committed to UCF, Georgia Leary, back in 2011. Georgia Leary has a tie to the Vikings. I can't remember what it is. It doesn't matter. He was the go-to man for Blake Bordelais for 2 seasons. Junior year in 2014 was the year that he really blew up, probably because Blake Bortles left school. It was the number 3 overall pick to the Jaguars in 2014. I digress. But Perriman put up 50 catches, 1,044 yards, and a redonkulous 20.9 yards per catch and 9 touchdowns. Was first team All-American Conference, which is very confusing if you're saying All-American. He's an All-American, but he's of the All-American Conference, American Athletic Conference there. Nailed it. Anyways, missed combine due to injury, which is going to be a recurring theme here with the story of Breshad Perriman. But at his pro day, he just smoked it. Like, from tape, you could tell that this guy was just an absolute physical beast, as well as backed it up with the measurables. He ran a 4.2 4.40, as well as that 127-inch broad jump, and also racked up 18 reps on the bench. So big, strong, fast, quick, everything above. That's why he snuck himself into the first round. Was number 26 overall to the Baltimore Ravens. And first day of training camp in 2015, sprained his PCL, like lingered around, and then eventually November that year he's placed on IR. So complete lost rookie season, and started to wear on some of his teammates, some of the coaches, some of the fans especially. Second year was relatively promising. 2016, 33 catches, 498 yards, and 3 touchdowns on 66 targets. But what the theme that started to creep up is the drops, issues with the hands. And I'm not saying it's Troy Williamson-esque, but if you ask a Ravens fan about Breshad Perriman, they will laugh at you. And then they'd be like, hands? Yeah. Quickly fell out of favor with Harbaugh and the coaching staff, and then eventually he was, before his 4th season, he was part of the 53-man cuts heading into 2018. It's basically what happened to Treadwell. Declined 50-year option, cut heading in with 53-man cuts on his 4th season, but it's just that the Ravens didn't re-sign him, like the Vikings did with Treadwell. Spent a week in Washington. Then inked up with the Browns, played a couple games there. Eventually found his way to the Bucs in 2019, playing on a 1-year, $4 million deal, which seems like a lot for a guy who was a certified first-round bust at that point. But he had a career year, playing behind Mike Evans. Chris Godwin even started a few games when Evans went down with injury, putting up 36 catches, 645 yards on 69 targets. Nice. Jameis put up some numbers. The good ones and the bad ones. But Perriman had a really nice bounce-back season. But he's an amazing athlete. Big, strong, fast, quick, as we know. Has had some really ish luck with injuries. Hopefully he's beyond that. Had a relatively clean season last year. Also, so many drops with the Ravens. Like, maybe he is getting past that. Maybe he did the Troy Williamson and got his cones and rods fixed. The orange and the blue. It's all about the U. Route running is still... That was a knock on him coming in. He was much more of an athlete playing receiver as opposed to a receiver playing receiver in one of those spots. Like, if you compared him to Cordero, I could certainly see it. I think Cordero's a bit more of a dynamic athlete. But as terms of running a full route tree, he has progressed quite a bit. He had a really nice season with Arians and them in Tampa last year, but let's make no mistake. He is not a Stefon Diggs. He's not a Thielen. He's not even Olabisi Johnson when it comes to running routes. But you're just betting on that speed, athleticism to help him carry the day. And I think he would be a relatively cheap option because we've already seen first wave free agency and also to a degree second wave free agency break against the bank. So now, Robbie Anderson's hanging out there. Breshad Perriman's out there, a couple of other receivers as well. I think Perriman is going to go the cheap 1-year prove it deal. and try and find a better market next year, because I think the same thing that's hurting Perriman is what we said was hurting Anderson, is that it's such a historically deep wide receiver class. A lot of people are like, why would we pay Breshad Perriman $10 million a year when we can just draft a dude, right? So I think Perriman is probably going to get another deal in the range of what he got from Tampa last year, the 1 year, $4 million deal, which kind of sucks for him, but also could be a great get for the Vikings, because I think the Vikings, they should double dip in terms of grabbing a couple wide receivers in this draft, but also I feel like bringing in some sort of veteran presence, and even 26 years old, if you consider that a veteran. I think that Perriman does still have a lot of upside just because of the physical skills, and if you get him in on a cheap 1 year deal, toss him in with BC, toss him in with Adam Thielen, I think you would have a stew going. But again, that shouldn't change at all how you approach the draft. I think they should still go receiver high, go in mid-round. I'll even bring one in as a UDFA too. But your thoughts? Breshad Perriman coming to the Vikings? Question mark. Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. If you want to support the work, pull us up in the Venmo. Plus give us a follow on social media as well. But until next time, Skol, production value.